ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 116 of the MTB Podcast, presented and hosted by Worldwide Cyclery. I am Jeff.
I'm Jared.
And I am Liam. Did you do that on purpose?
I actually didn't.
I had a feeling you didn't do that on purpose. You looked at me and then said, I am Jeff. And I was like, I don't think you did that on purpose.
We're keeping it interesting from,
We're keeping it interesting.
Minute
in case
one
you're
here.
watching the video or trying to listen and realize who is who, you might not know. In this episode, we're going to discuss Liam's Downieville race, which he just got back from. Various bikes, rides, and things we've been enjoying lately, plus a story from me regarding a good deed.
Oh.
And of course, the listener questions ranging from weird flexes that only bike nerds would understand, optimal crank arm length, strong wheel sets, and plenty of other things that will enrich your knowledge of mountain bikes. Because
We love bikes!
Wow, who is that? I don't know. You really
that
love
was
bikes.
our intro sound effect.
Wow.
If you heard that, that was, we used to call him the Green Goblin, but now we just call him Lou Dog. Shout out to Lou Dog for editing all these podcast episodes. We appreciate you, Lou Dog.
Ludo.
He's sitting over there in the dark wearing a tank top, making sure the audio levels are good.
Oh, yeah.
It's not an easy job, but the audio comes out good. Sometimes our audio is better than way bigger podcasts than ours, which is pretty cool.
It frequently
I like
is, I would say, actually.
Yeah.
Almost always.
I
Yep,
can't
we care
stand when
about that.
podcasts have bad audio.
No,
They're like, I just click off. Yeah.
totally.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Speaking of tough jobs, Liam just got back
jobs.
from racing Downieville.
Yeah. That had
Downieville.
nothing to do with my job here, though.
No.
But it was tough.
It
was
was
tough.
It was a
tough.
job.
Yeah, it was time
So
off.
Downieville is a famous mountain bike race in Northern California,
Yeah,
in the Sierra Nevada
I'd
mountains.
say it's probably the best mountain bike race in the Northern Americas.
Well, that's subjective, but
It is
I'm sure a lot of
objective,
people would
but
agree.
A lot of people agree. Some people say that the Downieville win has higher ranking, and to them personally, than going to the Olympics, which that person has also done.
Really?
So,
Wow.
Who said that?
Adam Craig,
Okay.
and he
That's
has
cool.
been in the Olympics. So,
I mean, I would say in terms of clout, that does provide a serious amount if you win the Downieville Classic.
yeah. So Downieville Classic is a 2-day race that combines a XC day one, which is a 4,000 foot climb with a 5,000 foot descent. The climb is right off the bat. It is brutal. It's hot. It's exposed. And then you descend into Downieville, the town, which still has climbs within that descent. And you get a kind of a range of trails from awesome, sick single track with berms to like the fastest, most fun fire road like ever, pedally fire roads, chunky single track, which is like sniper rocks that'll make you flat any XC tire or most tires really. Super fast single track, which like I think on second day of practice I had like 36 miles an hour on that single track.
Jeez.
So you're ripping pretty good.
Very fast.
Pretty fast for a single track. Yeah, and then you got some tech climbs on the end of it. So, and then day two is you start at the top of the mountain and you race down 600 feet of climbing, I think 4,000 or 5,000 feet of descending. That is like an hour-long Super D race, which
Nice.
Super D is an old form of racing.
It's the same bike.
Same bike, both
Yes,
no
you
days.
have to ride the
modifications.
same bike, no
So-
changes.
Same bike, no change. Is same tire setup. Has to weigh the same. They weigh it before both days, and if you don't do the second weigh-in, you get like an asterisk next to your result. So
So the results, do they award day one and day two and then both days combined,
Correct.
or just both days combined?
no, day one and day two, and both days to combine. Because some people only do the XC, but in order to do the downhill day two, you have to do the XC. So there's no just going up for the downhill. So yeah, it's pretty unique, and it's definitely a long running race. This is the 25th anniversary, but after a 4-year hiatus of COVID and wildfires, it is back, and it's my favorite race.
Yeah, you could argue it's one of those iconic races that kind of created modern day enduro racing, because it's been
Totally.
around for so long, and the idea originally was let's figure out who is a great all-around mountain biker.
It is like, that's what we were saying. It's like, Trevor, our mechanic, came with us, and he raced enduro for a couple years pretty seriously, and he's like, dude, this is like just all around mountain biking. Like, who is the best mountain biker on this mountain this weekend? Like, it's not the best at memorizing stages or who can climb up this mountain the best. Like, you have to ride a bike.
Yeah.
So, yeah, what do you guys want to know? How I did, my bike setup?
Do you regret running any things on your bike?
I do
a good
not.
question.
No?
I don't regret.
Because you got a flat on the downhill stage?
I did get a flat on the downhill stage. It was completely my fault, though.
Yeah. So your bike setup was good? What did you ride?
I rode my SB120 with a 140 fork on the front. From
Yeti
the
cycles.
Bumped up. Yeah, Yeti SB120. 140 fork on the front, bumped up from the stock 130. Bird wheels. I ran Forecaster 2.4 front tire in 3C compound, and Icon 235 rear in the Numax Speed compound with a Victoria Airliner. Pretty lightweight.
Victoria
setup.
Airliner was in just the rear only?
Just the rear only, yeah. Pretty lightweight setup, but still had enough like travel to kind of give it and ride hard. I thought it was a pretty good setup, and I think for what we have, it's arguable that the Ranger could have been a little bit better. I thought my setup was going to be dialed this year. I showed up, and then all these, country's best XC racers are on like full-blown XC race bikes with like almost XC race tires. Jeff Kabush was on Aspen 2.4s, and I was just like, what? Like, how are you going to ride these trails? And then what I kind of realized, though, is like still so much time is made up on these climbs, even on the downhill day. Like, Kabush said he lost 35 seconds to Keegan, who won the overall on the third divide climb, which is only 2.5 minutes.
Jeez.
So he lost 35 seconds in 2.5 minutes. Like, that's insane on a downhill run, which are decided sometimes by seconds, to lose 35 seconds. Like,
yeah.
So, that was my setup. Saturday, I had a really good day. I was stoked with what I did. I did 2 hours, 35-minute result, which I was stoked with, and,
climbing
and downhill.
Mostly. Yeah.
Yeah. But I was stoked with that and was hoping to do a good result on day 2. And near the bottom on first divide, I just was getting a little sloppy and trying to pedal. It's kind of like a rolling false flat climb with some sharp rocks in it. And I just like pedaled over some rocks and smashed my rear tire into something and pinch flatted. And Trevor had flatted the day before, and he's like, I was just fumbling all about and like dropping everything. I was like, all right, all good. Just going to pull out my plugs, all calm, and just going to do this real quick. Plugged it. I was like, okay, I'm going to put a bigger plug in it, put the second plug in it. I was like, cool. Grab my CO2 just to top it off, tighten up CO2. The O-ring blasted out of the CO2 head, and that's when I started fumbling real hard.
The panic set
And then I was like, and then neither CO2s worked, so I just hopped on my bike and rode the insert in. Last like 10 or 15 minutes. So ended up 12th overall in my category.
Did a lot of people flat?
A lot of people flatted.
Yeah.
There's
a lot of sharp rocks out there.
There's a lot of
Pretty
sharp rocks,
too,
high
so
speed, like
hard.
A lot
not
of people
to flat.
flatted. Trevor flatted his rear tire both days. Fixed it, flatted again. Second day, actually cracked his wheel pretty good. So he had like a whole other adventure of just like getting down the mountain and watching all the chaos happen, like go past him. He saw some dude crash and break his femur. He said he helped a couple girls plug their tires. Like,
it's so crazy. I mean, obviously people are trying to like, run as light of a setup possible and like these XC tires. And like, obviously, if you're going to go up there and ride, like you wouldn't bring a bike like that probably. I mean, like just to ride that downhill,
But then there is a range. That's what's cool about the event is like, there's a range of everything from like 21-pound weight weenie bikes to like 35-pound full suspension bikes. My buddy Tideman did on like a 33 or 34-pound alloy Cannondale. And he like,
did pretty good.
Get out there and go for it.
And smash the downhill, yeah.
Mike did it on the SB140 with a coil on it.
Mike did an SB140
Formerly Big
coil.
Mike.
Formerly Big Mike.
Yeah.
Shout out.
Yeah, Weaver Weaver did it as well. He finished both days with airness tires, so
wow.
Did kind of crack his rim, but
did kind of crack the rim.
That's pretty much it. It's my
Nice.
favorite race. I'm already 363 days out and scheming for next year, so
Nice. So you don't regret anything, but you would change a couple things.
I think next year I'm going to go for a even lighter bike to kind of favor the climbs a touch more, and maybe a faster tire combo.
Nice.
Probably keep the Icon 235 rear, but maybe throw a Recon in the front.
Nice.
But that's scary.
Yeah.
Running recons up front's pretty scary.
I don't know.
did
Brand new
that.
recon is pretty good.
I did that last year at Breck, and it was
Brand new.
okay. But
Brand new recon. 3C.
This makes me think I need a new set of tires for my Ranger.
That one? Aren't those like brand new tires?
Yeah, but I'm going to ride them a lot in the next 10 days.
Oh, okay.
I need a fresh set.
Fresh set for the adventure race.
Yeah.
yeah, I'll have a fresh
Nice.
set for you before you leave.
Nice.
How's that?
There you go.
Thank you.
What are you going to do? Dissector recon?
I actually like the setup that's on there now. That the new
Forecaster.
Forecaster.
Yeah.
recon?
Yeah, that new Maxxis Forecaster is good. It's way better than it looks. Like
I mean, I thought it looks pretty good.
yeah, when we first put it on, I was like, oh, it doesn't look like it's going to grip as good as a Dissector, but I think it does.
I think it's about
Yeah.
on par. I'd say the Dissector maybe has a little bit more overall grip. Mm-hmm. However, I think the Forecaster might roll a touch faster and has more predictability.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could say
More
that.
transition knobs.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it works really good, especially on that bike. I was
Yeah.
really impressed with how
Yeah, I
well
mean-
it gripped.
That's why I wrote it. But yeah, I think I go touch faster for next year. We'll see.
Nice.
Yeah.
There you go. Maybe I'll join you next year. It sounds like a really
You
good
should-
time.
you should come up and join
You
us.
should go,
Oh,
dude. Let's go,
yeah.
Jeff. Come on, let's go do it.
I'm retired from mountain bike racing.
It's barely a
Who
race.
says it's a
though.
race?
You don't have to race.
Yeah, it does sound fun.
They just start
That
a
sounds
timer.
like that sounds like a race I would like to do.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
sounds cool.
five or 6 nights of camping, no cell service, which is,
Yeah,
it's
Yeah.
a forced disconnect for sure, which is nice.
That is nice.
I didn't shower for since I left your house in Reno.
Well, you had the river, right? You
Yeah,
were doing river
yeah,
dips.
that's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I rinced off in the river, but like no shower, no soap.
How many
you
mountain
know?
bikers do you
Beautiful.
think showered in that river during that weekend?
All 400.
The fisher's like 100%.
Yeah.
This sodium. I can taste the scratch labs coming out of the
Yeah.
pores of these mountain bikers.
Weaver didn't shower one day because the night before we were getting out and we saw a snake in the water.
Really?
Yeah, I've seen a couple snakes up there in the water.
Whoa.
They're not big. They're just little two
Yeah,
foot snakes.
a lot of
and, like,
rivers.
they're not venomous. So
what
like
kind of snakes are those?
know. Just
Freaking
Downieville water snakes. But
Downieville water snake. Oh, the infamous Downieville water snake.
I asked my boy Jim Bob for what kind of snakes live in water.
Nice.
But yeah, he didn't go in one day and we were like, oh, come on. We were like, I'm staying out of there.
It's like Indiana Jones. Snakes, I'm out of here.
Yeah. So yeah,
People who watch Indiana Jones will get that.
well, isn't that on the ride too? When they did
Yeah,
when
it's
they
on
did
the
that?
ride,
too.
Yeah.
that's enough about me.
Yeah.
Nice.
What have you been doing lately, Jared?
You
Riding
know,
bikes? Anything
riding,
new?
Riding a lot of bikes. Yeah, I've been riding my gravel bike quite a bit actually.
In the full spandex, huh?
But
Yeah.
you got a new bike, didn't you?
I did get a new bike. Yeah, I got the new Forbidden Druid
V2.
Oh.
V2.
You
Love
got
it.
some time on it so far?
Yeah, I got a couple rides on it. It's pretty good. Love it. I'm definitely looking forward to taking it more, I don't know, just on some more challenging stuff. But, I'm kind of torn because my health insurance ran out a little bit ago and I'm kind of in between coverage for the next like 5
You're not supposed to let
or
that
6
lapse.
weeks. I know you're not. Okay, well, I, didn't realize.
This
so.
is not the place to discuss health insurance and benefits and these various
your
things. We should
personal-
have talked about this.
I'm
in
just
the-
saying,
Yeah.
I really want to go ride it on some other stuff, but like, I just don't want to take the
Yeah.
chance and then be like, oh yeah, by the way,
Well,
I was riding suicide and then, crash and we don't have health insurance.
the biggest almost I had recently was on a gravel bike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Carl was just telling me like, oh, I don't want to go ride the steeps because I got a lot of work coming up. And I was like, yeah, but like I almost went down hard doing like 30 on a gravel bike on a fire road and like would have like tumbled down the cliff.
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah.
Riding next to cars, I think, is more
That-
dangerous most of the time.
that
than
too, yeah.
Being on the mountain bike.
Yeah, but here's the thing. If someone hits me on the car, then hopefully they're paying for it.
If
you
they
know?
stop.
If they stop,
that's a big ask.
that's a big ask, yeah. But,
Whatever.
hindsight's
All right.
always
Anyways,
50-50, right?
we will discuss health insurance options after the fact.
Anyways.
Personal
We
mistakes.
do offer several health insurance benefits.
but yeah,
World Bike
anyways.
Cyclery, for the record, just so people don't think we don't offer health insurance.
I've been riding my gravel bike a lot. I did a century last week, 2 weeks ago.
Oh yeah, that was funny. You sent me a random voice message.
I did. You didn't
Did you-
reply. Oh, no, you did. You were
mean
like,
to
oh, that looks
send-
really good.
Did you mean to send that to me?
Yeah, I did. I was thinking about you because it looked.
so
it was really
random.
good. And I was.
Jeff told us, and he goes, I don't even know if you meant to send that to me.
I
It might have
did.
been like Paige or something.
It was hilarious. Well, to let everybody else know, yeah, it was just like, mid ride. I was like 60 miles in, having lunch at Topa Topa in Ojai, and I got this bowl, and it was like rice with this lemongrass beef and like pickled veggies and pickled peppers, and it was
looked
like
really good.
insanely delicious. And I
At the
was like,
breweries where they had that?
yeah, they have like a little restaurant on the corner, and like I'm just like exhausted eating this lunch, and I was like, man, honestly, if somebody came up and stole my bike right now, I wouldn't even chase him because this is so good. It was so good.
Food is so good. If someone
like,
stole your bike, you'd be like, well,
there it goes.
there it goes. Just take another bite.
Paige, you're gonna have to pick me up because I don't have a bike anymore. But yeah, I did that, and then I don't know. I rode with. Thanks. I rode with a couple buddies and did 50 miles on Saturday, and just kind of cruised. Went to Starbucks. That was kind of fun. Had a croissant and a cold brew mid ride.
What's that place? So like a unique cafe? Or
Starbucks.
Something?
Yeah, it's kind of this new hip cafe.
You missed the Arbucks in Mammoth.
Oh, the Arbucks.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there was a
Knockoff.
Starbucks and the S and the T are. Were they gone? Yeah, they were
Gone.
gone. They were gone. We think it was from there's so much snow there.
Oh wow! Yeah, damage.
The letters of the sign just vanished under the weight of the snow. So we were calling it Arbucks all weekend.
Nice. Well, that's all I got. I definitely missed you guys in Mammoth.
Yep. Yeah, we did our annual company camping trip, West Coast version, where a lot of people from the Nevada store go down to Mammoth, and a lot of people from the California store go up to Mammoth, and we all meet and ride bikes and have a good time and do funny things. This year was very unique because the bike park was not open, so we just rode all the various trails, the lower trails. Well, attempted to, but most of them were covered in snow, and we still had a good time.
Nice.
But there was some snow crossings, and we tried to pedal up Juniper, and then we made it 300 feet until there was just big piles of snow.
Snowdrifts.
Yeah, but we did ride Mammoth Rock Trail. That was totally clear and
Nice.
awesome. And it was still super
It wasn't
fun,
totally clear. Or the traverse wasn't. The actual trail was.
Is that the one where I wasn't know if it was?
Well, that
like
was before the lakes was the Lakes Trail, where that big snow thing was.
I saw a video somebody posted where you guys were like hiking up this huge snowdrift, and then somebody's
it was a bit of a mess out there.
I crossed a pretty decent snowdrift that if I saw the video or the photo of me crossing it, I probably wouldn't have done it. But in the time,
That was the smartest idea.
in the moment, I was
It was
like,
one of those unnecessary
got this.
risk situations.
yeah, I was like, got this, no problem. And I got like 10 feet in. I looked back and everyone's walking down around the snowdrift. And I was like, oh, shoot. No one's following.
you were like, oh, okay, well, I better make it.
But I made it. It was fine.
Nice.
It was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we still had a great time out there,
Nice.
albeit less mountain biking than normal.
Yeah, that's cool.
But
Good times around the campfire.
Nice. Classic.
some charades.
Oh,
like
yeah.
literal charades?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
played charades.
Wow.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
That's cool.
It was a ton of fun.
Somebody win?
There was no designated
clear-cut winner.
No, it was just like one person would
But
do
I'd say
something,
if
and whoever
someone
guessed it, the
had to
next person would
win,
go.
probably Dom was a winner.
Nice.
Yeah, well, he was the one who said he wanted to play charades because clearly he loves the game and plays the game often.
Clearly has an advantage and
Yeah,
wants to
yeah,
show everybody how good he is.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, it was pretty fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, it was a good time.
Well, what's this we're hearing about a good deed?
A good
you're
deed.
talking about.
I have I guess it's kind of a brag, but I don't know. I just thought it was a cool story that I would tell, even though, maybe it'll inspire someone.
Let's hear your
I'm already-
self-promotion.
Exactly. I was hastily walking to lunch to meet someone for lunch. This guy actually was going to meet this guy Wes, who owns a company called Tahoe Trail Bars. These things are delicious. It's one of my favorite energy bars. You've had
Tahoe
some
Trail
of those, right?
Bars?
So, yeah.
Yeah, not a big company. They're mostly sold regionally, but they're super good.
Nice.
So anyways, going to lunch, walking to go get lunch with him. I walked past this homeless gentleman who was futzing with his bike angrily, and I usually when I see something like that, I stop and try and help out. But I was like, God, I was gonna be late. I got to get there, so I walked 20 feet past him and I stop. And that James Clear quote that was in that email ran through my head, and it was, "You don't help people when it's convenient for you. You help people when they need help." And I was like, oh. So I turned around and I walk over and I go, "Hey man, I'm a bike mechanic. Can I help you out?" And it was funny to say I'm a bike mechanic.
You lied.
I realized that's a bit of a funny.
You embellished and you
But I mean,
lied.
come on, I could qualify in that
I
scenario.
know, I'm just joking.
So it didn't matter. And so he's like, yeah, totally. So he's got this old quick release wheel with a Beach Cruiser tire, which was kind of too big for the frame, and those slightly angled horizontal dropouts. Yep. And a lot of people don't know how to use a quick release. It's kind of a confusing thing. They think it's like the lever should be flipped open and you spin it tight.
Yeah.
Like they don't know that you kind of it's loose and then you flip the lever. So
yeah.
Anyways, I help him align the wheel and the frame, and then I taught him how to use the quick release, got the wheel spinning, and he was just so stoked and so
nice.
grateful.
Good for you, man.
Yeah.
Nice.
So he was really appreciative.
Oh, and then he's like, "Hey, I've seen you on them YouTube videos."
No, he did recognize me from YouTube.
I don't know why he had a southern accent in that instance, but you know.
I did like marginally good deeds.
Yeah.
This week.
Helped a couple people out.
Yeah. There's just the PCT crosses right above Sierra City, like maybe quarter mile out.
Oh, nice.
And I was just, as we're coming down from shuttles, I had my empty van, so I just picked people up every time I saw them hitching a ride.
Really?
Because it's only like quarter mile down the road, and they're just going to the general store and to get a restock.
Oh, nice.
Or their resupply.
Good for you,
So
man.
I just hopped a couple in my van, got a bunch of room.
Nice.
Any good stories?
Not really. It wasn't long enough. One guy's from France, one girl's from Illinois. I did ask them though. I was like, "Dude, what did you guys do from Lone Pine to here? Because you cannot get across." They're like, everyone's just flipping it this year.
Yeah, they just skipped it.
No
right?
one's even doing it.
Just
like,
taking the highway, or
you hitch and rides.
no one's
basically
actually
from,
doing the PCT this year. It's like impossible.
Oh,
from Lone Pine to Tahoe, and then they restart in Tahoe.
insane.
Yeah, that was my marginally good deed. It's not. I didn't go out of my way really. One time I turned around, but once I did that, I was like, I'll just look every time I have an empty car cruising down the street. So
Nice.
threw them in.
Best hitchhikers, man.
No one even questioned that I was picking them up in a weird white van.
Didn't ask them if they wanted candy or anything like that.
No.
Nice. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Well, on that, I saw a couple videos of people like who did Mount Whitney this year, and it just looks like insane. Like somebody in June they were posting a video of, and it was just everything covered in snow, middle of June. Like,
were they stopping, or they had ice axe and ice picks and all that stuff?
they did not have ice pick. Oh, they did have an ice axe. Yeah. I guess they must have had all that, but I guess the hut is actually not buried at the top anymore. You know but yeah, it looked like dead of winter up there.
Yeah.
It was insane.
For those who don't know, Mount Whitney is the tallest mountain in the lower 48, 14,500 feet.
About,
I think it is.
Something like that.
508 maybe?
Yeah, in California, in the Sierra Nevada mountains. I don't think a lot of people know that the tallest mountain in the lower 48 is in California.
And also the lowest point
Maybe.
Yeah.
in the 48, actually might even be the lowest point in North America. Don't quote me on that, but is 135 miles east
Yeah, right over there.
in Death Valley. Yeah.
Gosh, such a diverse landscape we've got here.
Crazy geological stuff going on in California.
Wild.
Totally wild.
Absolutely wild.
Should we jump into the first listener question?
Why not?
All right, well, you got 3.5 minutes.
All right. Let's see here. When is crank arm length difference noticeable? Currently running 175 millimeter cranks on a large SP130. I'm considering 170 or 165. Would either of those changes be noticeable? I say absolutely yes. And in this day and age, I would probably go 165.
Yeah, I agree. I've been strong 170s for a long time. And then recently, within the last like 12 months or so, I've pretty much switched all my pedal bikes to 165s, even my XC bike. I don't feel any drawbacks except smaller circles and more ground clearance. So
Yeah, bikes are they've just gotten so low that in, just the recent couple years, people started running much shorter cranks. Also, part of that is because more brands started making 165s, whereas previously any of these, relatively good XC/trail cranks that you'd want to buy never came shorter than 170. And now brands kind of caught on like, oh, people want 165. So they now make them 165 and everyone's like, oh, this is great. I'm not smashing my pedal into rocks all the time now. Yeah. So yeah, 165 is definitely an awesome upgrade. And if you're one of those people that's clipping your pedals and your cranks on rocks on climbs often, then give it a try.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, my new bike actually came with 165 mil cranks.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
The Forbidden?
Yeah.
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 Really,
they're just on top of it.
Yeah, they got really
Build
good
kits
build
are on
spec.
top of it.
And actually, when I was looking at the trending products for our upcoming video, and the 165 mil cranks are the most popular option.
Oh,
wow. 5 dev?
Oh, just for the build kit, or the group set kit.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
The GXT type and the XOT type.
165s.
Yeah, nice. We do a monthly YouTube City.
What's the capital?
I don't know why I said that word. We do a monthly YouTube video of the most trending and popular mountain bike products, and we sometimes do it every month.
60% of the time, we do it every month.
60% of the time, we do it every time.
Exactly.
We skip here and there, but no, for the most part, we do it. It's actually, we put in a lot more. It's not just oh, here's what's popular. We put in more context and information of kind of why they're popular. Usually end up being like 7 to 10 minutes each time. Yeah. It's just Jared and I goofballing around talking about popular mountain bike parts, but it's also in a playlist if you ever want to watch it, right?
That's true. Yeah, it is a playlist. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you guys want to watch popular mountain bike products on a monthly basis, we do that. And then we do the yearly recap, which we actually then did again on the podcast this year.
We did.
For the 2022 popular products. I think that's important to know. Like if you're in the mountain bike world, it's kind of hard to figure out what to buy for any type of upgrade or bike or anything. And one good place to go is like, well, what's everyone else buying? What's trending? What's popular? What do people like and why? And we try and always cover that on the podcast and the YouTube videos.
For sure.
In good detail.
I mean, that's how I figured out, what to get for my bike before I knew all the ins and outs.
Yeah, it is useful. Yeah. And that's why we do it.
And that's why we do it. And speaking of why we do it, how about an ad? And now, a word from our sponsors. The MTB Podcast is brought to you by Athletic Legumes. Is your diet not providing you with the legumes that your body needs and craves? Try Athletic Legumes, where the magic of legumes unlocks your true athletic potential. With our specially formulated and proprietary blend, your body will soak up the unparalleled nutrition and boundless energy found only in the world's finest legumes. Hundreds, if not millions of athletes swear by the edge that Athletic Legumes gives them. Try us for 30 days free. We guarantee that you will look and feel better than ever before. Just head to athleticlegumes.com and use the code BEANTHECAT for your free trial. Unleash the power of legumes and let your dreams sprout wings with Athletic Legumes. And now, back to the show. Yeah, and that's when I got that prescribed that ointment cream.
Quick disclaimer regarding ointment creams and other various topics. Most of the advertisements, 99% of them they're satire. Mm-hmm. Last episode, we did one with Craig Federighi, which is like the senior product development or senior product guy at Apple, the technology
Super nice of him
company.
To come do the ad.
Super nice of him to come do the ad. Some people didn't realize that was satire. Sorry about that.
We apologize.
Not yet sold out.
Greg Federighi is the guy who does the presentations on their. He's the third highest ranking executive at Apple. That would be pretty cool.
His salary has 2 commas in it. Yeah. Our podcast is not there yet.
Our podcast will never have 2 commas.
That would be pretty sick.
That would be pretty cool.
He was like, I'm just taking a little bit of time out of my schedule to go do an ad for the MTB podcast.
Yeah, I like technology, so if any of you out there are high up at Apple, I would love to actually talk to you. I have some complaints. Actually, so Dom's friend...
Or if you're an app developer,
Dom's friend...
have great tips on what they should change.
Great tips. Dom's friend, Nick Burton, he rides mountain bikes, watches some of our stuff, got me a deal on this laptop right here.
So did you tell him everything that you hate about it?
No, I like this thing a lot. Kidding. It's really good.
Your phone or
I should send that Craig Federighi ad to him.
But
he's
Jeff,
going to get a kick out of it. But then we might get sued or cease and desist or something.
Oh,
so. Jeff with technology is like us with bikes. I can always find the smallest nitpick thing and it's just why did they do this way?
I can find that
way better this way.
Yeah, you can't find that with everything.
Yeah.
He's the reason why I took the door off my closet.
Just too inefficient to slide it back.
Most people are going to hear that and be like, what?
It's not a pocket door. It should be a pocket door. But in order to access this whole half of the closet, you have to go inside of it and shut it.
It's also in the bathroom. So why you don't need I don't need to close my closet off to my bathroom. Who cares?
What stoners developed this bathroom?
Who knows? But for context, everyone listening, Jared and I live in a parallel universe. We live in the exact same. We live in the exact same condo.
Not the same condo,
but they're
same layout.
Same layout condo, 400 feet apart.
Yeah.
So that's what he meant.
And so Jeff and I used to almost live in the exact same apartment layout.
Mm-hmm.
One day I had to do a favor for Jeff, and I
specifically go into my closet and get boxers.
I had to go get a pair of dirty underwear out here.
That is actually the truth. That is pretty funny. So we're developing some boxer briefs for Kettle, and I had some prototypes, and I was out of town, and I needed to get those prototypes back to Dominic, who's in our Nevada facility, and I needed Jared to go in there and find my dirty prototype boxers on the floor and get them to the shop and then ship them to Nevada.
And so when I went up to his place, I was like, oh, I got a couple of nice ideas for my place, one of which was remove the closet door. And it wasn't even, Paige was like, oh, I want to go too. I was like, fine, bring some company with me. And then we go in there. Oh, this is nice. I was like, all right, I'm doing it when we get back. Otherwise I'll never hear the end of it. It's like, oh, well, what if we took it off the closet door? I'm like, okay, I'll do it right now.
Just get over it.
Yeah. And admittedly, it's really nice. Like, you can access 100% of the closet. I digress.
Mountain bikes, not home interiors.
Not home interiors. Gosh, that would be a whole nother good podcast we could
do. This gentleman has got a few questions. We're going to answer a couple of them because we thought the last one wasn't that good. He says his first question.
We just didn't like that type of question.
Him like that?
With bikes coming with some form of factory-tuned settings for the suspension, could upgrading a fork or shock with something off the shelf with a neutral tune have a negative effect on the bike? That's actually a very common question.
Yeah,
a lot of bikes are like, oh, we worked with Fox or RockShox to develop a specific tune for our rear shock for this frame. And then you're like, well, I don't want that shock anymore, and I want to get a different one. And this one has a mid tune.
Yeah.
I think there's some bikes that are pretty off the deep end that do really benefit from a, factory tune. And brands like Yeti and Revel and whoever else do work a lot with Fox or RockShox or whoever to set that factory tune. Well,
Yeti has a guy in-house, right, that does all their shock tuning. Pretty sure.
I think it's multiple people. It's not just one person. Yeah, Santa Cruz has Kieran who, does all their
a lot of the prominent brands do a lot of work to get those shocks to work perfect for those frames.
And they're messing with one shim stack different. Like, most people can't feel that.
Right.
Most people probably won't know the difference from a factory tune to a medium off the shelf tune as well. However, kind of
pretty small changes.
It's hard to say though. It's one of those that's like, it does kind of depend bike to bike and setup to setup and what you're actually looking for. And sometimes it benefits it. Like, we had that Mondraker Podium,
way too stiff,
which had a crazy stiff tune that you had to ride like pretty aggressively for it to like feel good. So if you put a light tune on that, a light compression tune, it probably would have felt great.
Yeah,
because a lot of it's subjective too, right? So the guys, in the case of that Mondraker, they probably did that intentionally because they wanted it to feel like really stiff and fast and like a cross country race bike. And then we got it and we're like, well, we kind of want this thing to feel like a trail bike. So this shock sucks.
Exactly.
This tune sucks.
Yeah.
So that is a challenge. So I don't know. I mean, I think it's when you're in that case, you have to just understand if your bike has a custom tune, and then talk to the brand and say, well, what does the tune do? Does the tune make it stiffer off the top? Does it make it more progressive? Like, what the heck does it do? And then figure out if you like what they answered or don't, and want to change that or not.
One of the reasons on my SB120, Yeti SB120,
you gotta specify. Not everyone just knows every model name of every bike.
Well, I've said it like 6 times now. So.
I know.
It's the reason why I haven't changed the rear shock on it, because it does feel so good stock. It is a DPS, and like sometimes I ride it like a trail bike. I'm like, oh, Floadex would be sweet. And I'm like, you know what? I don't want to mess with it because it feels so good. And what's it going to get me? A little bit more like downhill performance, heat up a little bit less quick.
Yeah.
So,
fair. Totally. Well, how about the next question? I think we got that one pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Why does SRAM still make NX? On your site, it's a $5 difference for the shifter and a $20 difference for the derailleur to go from NX to GX. Why wouldn't every manufacturer just give everyone the much better performing GX? I feel like everyone would pay an extra $25 for a bike to have that upgrade from the factory, as it makes a big difference in performance. I think SX needs a few small upgrades and then just can the whole NX system. Gotta agree with the guy. I mean,
it's a little close.
Yeah.
I mean, except for the cassette, I guess. Like, there's a huge weight difference and price difference between the NX and GX cassette. But I guess
the shifter's aside from the chain, I guess, but the shifter is the cheapest piece of the whole group set, so they're going to be closest all together to begin with. So,
but like Jared said, the cassette is a much different beast from NX to GX. The chain as well. And also, a lot of these kind of lower end stuff, NX and SX, both mostly exist for OE spec, not for aftermarket spec.
Yeah.
Which is a whole nother ball game of,
But they do sell NX and SX.
They do.
Aftermarket.
But it's mostly replacement for that,
totally.
right? Like no one's going to build a brand new bike and be like, I want SX on it. It's like you're buying a bike at the price point with SX or NX on it. And those big manufacturers that are doing that are penny pinching, to be honest. And they're just trying to get a bike in a certain price point that someone can afford.
Yeah. I guess if they're making, 1,000 bikes, then $25 a bike is a big difference, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it is totally. And especially if they're trying to just hit a certain price point. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I don't envy the team at SRAM and Shimano that's trying to figure out all of these different SKUs and different price points. And then they have all this feedback from all their aftermarket customers and all their OE bike customers that want different price points and different features. And it's a complicated business. I mean, there's a reason we have 18,000 products on worldwidecyclery.com.
Yeah.
It's just there's a lot of parts in this game. So,
and that's why you also
literally,
a lot of parts in this game.
Yeah. Well, Andy, they got to differentiate these things, right? Like you can't make NX.
That's one of the hardest parts.
Can't make NX too good. You can't make, you gotta. Yeah, it's like you have to make GX a certain amount better, and same thing with XO1. It's like,
I mean that's so one of our top viewed YouTube videos is the breakdown between the differences of. I think at that point we did.
I think it was
GX, XO1, and XX1.
I think
it's a little bit all over
SX in
video
there too.
But, we might have put SX in there too. And it's tough, and there used to be more feature differences, like a little feature here and there, but it's kind of there's been mostly feature parity between most of the higher end, at least GX and above or SLX and above. For the most part, just like materials changes, which ends up being like a little bit of quality of feel and weight, and that's it. So
nuanced.
But price point and weight.
But
I don't know.
If you are upgrading, go with GX, like you said.
Yeah.
Depending on where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Totally.
Right on. Next question. Hey guys, I'm curious about running a mixed wheel setup on the Revel Rail platform. Have any of you tried this? Would you start with the 27.5 or the 29er version? Ooh, well, Liam has done this. And you started with the 27.5 frame.
Yeah, so
Correct.
The Revel Rail, which is a 27.5 bike, not to be confused with the Revel Rail 2.9.
Right.
Yes. I did it before the Rail 2.9 existed, which is why I did it, was I wanted basically a 2.9 front wheel on that platform. I started the Rail 27. I believe I short stroked the shock, because what's that bike, 165, right?
Yes.
So.
165. So I short stroked the shock to 157. And then I put a 160 mil fork on it instead of 170 to compensate for a little bit higher front end of the 2.9 front wheel. So I dropped it back down a bit, right? Because that bike was 170 or 180, so I ran a 160 on it. Adding a 29er adds about 20 mil to your stack height, roughly, I believe. I did the math when I did this.
Nice.
And it worked out pretty well. And then I just realized I don't love pedaling a mullet bike.
Yeah.
It's great. Like I went
super fun down.
I literally rode it straight to Santa Cruz. Like I think I rode it once or twice around here, and then went to Santa Cruz, and I was like, this thing is awesome. Like just ripping laps and steep trails. And I was like, dude, I like found, this Goldilocks. And then I came back down here where we just have fast, straight trails. And I was like, oh, a lot of those benefits are like Santa Cruz specific, like getting into steep ruts and steep chutes and stuff. It felt really good. So that being said, for this dude, I still think probably starting with a 27.5 would be better unless you want a really low bottom bracket. Because if you do 2.9, you put a 27.5 wheel on it, you're going to drop that BB like an insane amount, like 15 mil, which, bikes ride weird if they have like 5 mil BB drop difference. So I think going to 27.5 and kind of doing similar to what I did would be your best bet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Instead of putting a smaller wheel on the 29er.
Yeah. I mean, I think like most things, use case dependent, right?
Definitely.
So depending on the trails, if he's riding stuff that's similar to Santa Cruz, that's steep chutes, a lot of corners, and that's what he loves to do is shred things like that and have a playful bike, then heck yeah, mixed wheels is a lot of fun. If he's doing more high speed straight line or a lot of technical climbing or just more on the XC side of things, then it does just go 29 and get on with it.
Yeah, for sure.
Use case dependent and personal preference.
Speaking of use case, what is the proper setup for a downhill wheel set? My hub is a DT Swiss 370. All my spokes were incredibly loose after 3 hours of downhill, and my Stan's MK4 flow rim looks like it belongs to a wave pool.
Ouch.
Well, was your wheel brand new, perfectly laced, perfectly trued, with spoke prep and even Loctite before those 3 hours of downhill?
That we don't know.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. And building up a lot of wheels for people who ride hard, I put so much, like, what'd you say? Effort or like attention,
into the prep of the build,
into the prep, and even spoke tension.
Yeah,
your wheel can look a little wavy. You're riding downhill; it doesn't matter. You're smashing rocks, as big as your wheel.
Yeah,
but if your spoke tension's even, you'll have a really strong wheel. So that's definitely first is where you'd set up for a downhill wheel set. Is proper spoke tension.
Is that their downhill rim too? The flow. The
flow is their downhill rim. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just strong wheel sets in general. I think who built them is a big piece of the puzzle, like how well it was built, and if it used spoke prep and tension's all dialed. Next piece of the puzzle is maintenance. So every time you ride that thing, check it. Like, is your spoke still good? Did you bend something? Like, you got to maintain your wheels if you want them to continue working for a while.
Did you case a big jump and flat spot it, which then put uneven spoke tension in your wheel?
Yeah, and then kept riding it.
What kind of spokes do you usually use on those downhill wheels?
I pretty much use DT Swiss competition on everything, which is a 201820 spoke. Sometimes I'll use, what's the other ones? Competition or Champions, which is a 20 straight gauge. But I don't think the 2018s 20s are like any weaker per se, but they are a bit lighter.
Butted spokes,
yeah.
Nice.
So that's what I usually use. I use Wheelsmith spoke prep, or I actually been digging the Stan's powder spoke prep in combination with the DT Swiss nipples that already have spoke prep in them. So I double spoke prep them.
Wow.
And then I get it into tension. I put a wheel on it and it kind of lowers it. And then I actually use blue Loctite on the nipples as well.
Wow.
So like triple spoke prep.
Nice.
Yeah, a lot of things go into having a good strong wheel and maintaining a good strong wheel. But yeah, I don't know. Downhill wheels and big riders or hard terrain, like they all bend and need maintenance and take time.
All of your parts are good. Well, depending on your spokes and your nipples brand, but Flow MK4 is a good rim.
Yeah, good hub. And
DT
good rim.
Swiss 370 is super good. So I'd say just maintenance and making sure it's set up good from the start is, most important for a downhill wheel.
Yeah, indeed.
Nice.
All right, here's another question that makes no sense.
This one's super technical. If you had to replace your saddle with a fast food, what would you choose and why?
I mean, I think it's pretty easy. Pizza.
Yeah, I had that thought, but I'm going to take it one step further.
I think it's too soft. I think it would crush.
I was going to say a calzone.
That's pretty good, except then every time you sat down, it would just shoot the remnants out the back. I got it. A dense and stale ciabatta bread.
Oh, it's like a sandwich.
See? Imagine
What
that
about
on top of the
Subway.
top of the seat post.
That'd be decent.
That would actually hold up, I think.
Yeah.
Unless it rained.
Or a dense bagel would even be.
A bagel.
Dense, stale, big bagel.
Yeah.
It looked like some of those time trial saddles.
Whoa.
I guess none of these are really fast food. These are just food.
Well, yeah. I mean, you could get, I don't know,
All
calzone at
hit me
what's
with
it called,
that
Sbarro.
McRib.
Oh, gross.
That thing's stale. That thing's stiff. That thing's fake.
Jeez. Gross. Otherwise, yeah, I'd go footlong.
Foot long.
Speaking of footlongs, what's an unwritten rule in the shop at Worldwide Cyclery? Kind of discussed this.
I don't know
earlier.
one.
You don't know one.
There's a couple that are not podcast
Common sense.
legit.
That's the unwritten rule.
Common sense.
Those things have been written down at this point. We're
That's
over 10
true.
years old.
Well, except for this one we were talking about earlier, is you really shouldn't be heating up salmon in the microwave.
Really shouldn't.
Or
No,
fish.
It's a hard no.
It's like
No fish.
No fish in the microwave or air fryer or whatever.
Especially I've never been in PA shop, but in Reno and Cali shop, the kitchens are in the middle of everything with zero ventilation. So you heat up some fish and it just lingers.
Yeah.
And then I go to hit up my like chicken teriyaki bowl and it's like a fish chicken teriyaki bowl.
You know what's unwritten is no booze until 1 hour before close.
Yeah, that is unwritten.
That is unwritten.
Yeah, but everyone follows that.
Yeah.
As far as I know.
Why you look at me? This guy's the one who drinks more than I do.
Hey, what are you talking about? No, you're right. I do follow that. And,
Yeah,
you know.
you and Weaver follow it. I mean, Weaver's up at 3:59 pouring his drink some days, but he waits an hour.
Yeah, right? Yeah, that's a good one.
That's a good one.
I can't really think of anything else. Like, don't like trek a muddy bike through the whole shop. Like, that's pretty
also
common
common
sense.
sense.
Yeah.
Next question.
Next question.
How much time, on average, do y'all think you spend thinking up, taking, and selecting a thumbnail for each podcast? So the podcast, not really much time at all because...
Like, pretty on the spot.
Yeah.
We grab a prop, we shoot a
I
thumbnail.
don't know. We just do something rando. Podcast not important. But regular videos that go on the Worldwide Cyclery YouTube channel, we spend a lot more time and thought into the titles and those thumbnails.
Oh, yeah.
It's a whole game on YouTube.
Michael's been
clicky, interesting thumbnail.
Michael's been getting real.
He's been on fire lately.
He's been on fire.
With
He's
the
been real
thumbnails.
tech with them and some crazy
they look
Photoshop skills.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Is
that one
he
of me
still-
with the
is he-
briefcase. That was a really
Is he
good
still
one.
hiding Bean in them
yeah.
too?
He hid Bean in that one, but nobody found her. He hit her really good.
Well, maybe
That
we-
photo of you with the briefcase and the suit with no shirt.
Yeah.
That's funny.
That's the one.
maybe if
really good
anyone, we'll have Mike keep hiding Bean.
Yeah, we should.
And if anyone sees it, send us an email. And
Yeah.
maybe you'll get a special little gift card.
I like that.
How about that?
Ah.
I
Send
like
us an
that a
email
lot.
podcast at worldwidecyclery.com. If you find Bean in the next Worldwide Cyclery YouTube video cover photo.
Perfect. Done deal. It's in writing.
Ah.
There you go.
All right.
Speaking of which, what's one of your guilty pleasures that you're willing to share?
You go.
All right, I'll go. Well, you know, if I'm a little snack hungry, I like to take a date and I dip it in this cocoa spread. It's basically like a Nutella.
Yes, I do. You're gonna set one with food.
This has to be food
you
with
went,
Jared,
your
right?
brain went to food.
It's a guilty pleasure. I'm like,
Yeah.
you know what? It's a little dessert time. Take a date, you dip it in there, and it's like a Snickers bar. It's insane. I'm not a huge Snickers guy, but it's really good. All right, you too.
Mine is Disney.
Oh,
Disneyland.
yeah.
Theme
Is that
parks.
really that guilty? I mean,
Spend a decent amount of money going there. Usually a pretty conservative, frugal guy, but you know, Disneyland. I go to Disneyland.
off the rails.
I
He
go
goes
to
hard.
Disney World off the rails. $25
budget.
per person to get a lightning lane for the Cars ride, buying it.
You dog.
$27 to get a lightning lane for the Galaxy's Edge ride, buying it.
Wait, for each ride they do this?
There's like the two popular rides. You have to you buy your Genie Plus, which is already $25 extra per ticket per person.
What does that get you?
Various it gets you into the lightning lane access basically.
And then you
And
can
then-
spend more money.
But
These
it's
rides
only
are
on all
excluded.
rides except for the most
Oh,
popular
get
two.
out of
Those ones
here.
you got to pay individual on
That's
top
insane.
of everything. Yeah, after COVID, Disney's trying to make some money, so
So
they
you
really
gotta
stacked
spend-
it to
So you got to spend like $75
Pay to play.
to get faster lines on 3.
yeah, dude, the amount of it's become very pay to play. It's a big controversy because a
Wow.
lot of people say, well, this is not inclusive. It's not affordable for a lot of people. And Disney's like, well, everyone hates crowded parks. Everyone hates high prices. Do you understand economics?
Yeah.
Supply and demand.
We didn't build this park so everybody could come, so we could make money.
It's a challenging problem for them to solve, but
Yeah. I mean,
that's where I spend.
couldn't you
money
used to
on.
just go get like a fast pass and like it was like free or whatever? You
Yes,
just had to go and
they
get
used
it.
to be free. Yeah,
Back when you
And then
went when you were a child
after the
and you grew out of it.
COVID shut down, then it was coming from the guy who's never been there. I've never been there.
Oh, you got you there, man.
I used to go a lot when I was a kid.
To Disneyland?
Yeah. My grandma's neighbor worked there. We got
awesome.
free tickets all the time.
No, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, Liam, what's your guilty pleasure?
I don't know. I couldn't really think of that many except for bread. I love me some bread.
Love bread.
And I'll go as far as like knocking out carbs like all day long just to eat a loaf of bread at the end of the day. It's arguably probably worse than if I just like moderated my carbs, but you know.
Yeah.
No one said this was a healthy pleasure. They said it was a guilty
It
pleasure.
is guilty. Yeah. What kind of bread? Just like a French loaf?
Any
Any
fresh
of it?
bread,
Giant
yeah.
baguette,
Sourdough.
24 inches long.
Sourdoughs. Oof.
Yeah.
I went to, what's that, Pernin?
Perrin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On my
bakery.
way out,
You know.
fancy bakery.
Dude,
just bought a
that's
baguette.
good.
Crushed
Yeah.
it.
Oh.
No butter, no nothing. Just ate out of the bag.
That place has
On the
pastries
drive,
that
yeah.
are straight
Wow.
from heaven.
Yeah.
That sounds so good. Jeez.
Fried. Yep. It's fine.
All right. We got a couple more here. What's a stronger hub for a 200-pound dude that rides blue and black trails at bike parks on a 2023 Trek Roscoe?
Why do you think that?
I broke in 2 in the month of June. Shimano MT410 and DT Swiss 370.
Yeah, Shimano hubs aren't known for their robustness, I have to say. They roll really good, but definitely not robust. DT Swiss 370, on the other hand, are usually robust, but I'm guessing it was a 3-pawl system.
Probably, huh?
If you were to upgrade that 370 to the Ratchet LN, which is their new system for 370 hubs, I think you would have a lot harder time breaking that.
For sure.
That being said, I think the DT Swiss Ratchet system 350, I would say, is the most robust hub you can probably buy. And honestly, like, that's my go-to hub. It's on my downhill bike. I put it on e-bikes. I put it on friends' bikes. Like, it's, it's as close to bulletproof as a hub with small bearings and spinning stuff on the inside can get.
I'm wondering how he breaks them. You think it's the pawls?
I'm guessing he probably just shears paws or teeth on the ratchet ring. Yeah,
the ring
star
drive.
Ring, yeah.
Serious power.
Wow.
How much? You're almost 200 pounds, are you?
Like 190.
190.
Yeah.
You ever broken pawls in a hub?
I've only broken a hub axle.
And hydro, which is
Yeah, which I guess is common.
Someone last podcast, someone said we roasted you when I said,
Oh, yeah.
I was like, well, Jared's got like 40 pounds on us, and they're like, roasted. They put the timestamp and said we roasted them. Yeah, I was like, I didn't even think about it like that. Yeah, it's just like, oh, well, we're talking about weights, and I was like, well, he's got 40 pounds on us. Not more like he's big. It's more like we're teeny.
Small. Yeah, we're just small like guys.
Jared's pretty normal sized for a male right now.
Somewhat proportioned,
Yeah, you are.
You're under the average.
Appreciate it.
Average American's obese. You're not, so you're doing great.
That makes me feel pretty good, when you put it like that.
Yeah.
Well, I think we got this guy's hub woes all solved. How about this one? Last question. What's a weird flex that only bike nerds would understand?
I would say custom painted frames or little modifications to the various tidbits on your bike, such as taking your rebound knobs or compression knobs and scraping off the color or painting them, sandblasting them.
Don't know anybody who
custom
does that.
decals, taking off every little tiny sticker that you don't like so it looks just ever so slightly unique. I got a flex. I got one.
Yep.
A black O-ring on a RockShox fork.
Oh, that is one.
I have one on my bike because Liam dropped the lowers and changed it to black because I didn't want the red.
That's actually what I was going to say.
Is it?
Imagine that.
I dropped Jeff's lowers on a brand new fork to put on a black O-ring over the red stock one.
Can't have that red one.
And you know what my bike looks like?
It has the red one on there.
Yeah, because I don't care that much. Trust me, though. My bike, my Rail 29 is sick. Green frame, green fork, everything else blacked out. The red O-rings look hideous.
Yeah.
However, I just don't. And then you can't do the rear shock and not do the fork. That's even worse.
Yeah, because it's easy to do the shock.
Yeah.
Yep.
But, I mean, I hear you already have to do it for one guy. Why'd you, break your back, go do it again for yourself?
Well, he's not paying himself. That's why.
That's true.
He didn't do it for me for free.
Oh, man. Those are good flexes. I was just going to say, like you have a sick shock, like a Push 11.6 or...
Yeah, that's definitely a flex.
like, oh, yeah, I got the Zeb, but I got the avalanche damper in there. It's not your stock average Charger.
That's
2
true.
or Charger 3.
Well, I was thinking another weird flex, but it's mostly on Jeff's end.
Yeah.
Is he was like, I'm doing 10 rides soon. I need some new tires.
Oh, yeah. Always having tires that
always
look brand
having
new on
fresh
your bike.
tires.
Dude.
These lost the edge. New tires I'm putting on. It's like that's like racer dilemma.
Yeah.
Gotta have
Those
fresh tires.
Tires on my gravel bike are tires I got from you like over a year ago. Put them back on the bike and I'm still running them. Like, still work. It's hilarious. I was like,
cool.
These are Jeff's old tires from your gravel bike.
A lot of people benefit from me wanting to always have fresh tires, and they take my slightly used tires.
Yeah.
Yeah. Works out.
I'd say Another thing mountain bikers would understand is like having like multiple pairs of shoes, like riding shoes.
Oh yeah,
Like always rolling up with like a different pair of shoes every time you ride with someone.
That's ridiculous.
fresh kits.
Yeah.
I don't even go that far.
Oh, I have like 6 pairs of riding shoes, I think.
I just like my shoes to be properly broken into like my feet and the pedals and everything.
I like that too,
I
but-
just don't like having that many pairs
Yeah.
of shoes. It doesn't work.
You know what's a really weird flex is like having fresh cleats.
Yeah, but no one
Yeah.
sees that.
It's not like a visual though.
You know what's a good flex?
Oh yeah, nice. You
Being
got
a
fresh
really nice human and leaving us a review
Ooh.
on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. It
That
genuinely helps out the podcast and helps us out. And if you've listened to this far, I think you owe it to us.
You owe us one, dude.
You owe us one, man.
Yeah, man.
No, but seriously, please do it. It really helps out. We appreciate it. And if you
Yeah.
have any questions you'd like them answered, we answer the good ones. So just email them to Jared.
Podcast at worldwidecyclery.com.
Yep. Send in your questions.
Yep.
And that's it. That's all for episode 116. Talk to you guys in the next one.
Thank you and good night.
Cheerio.
Peace out.
The cookie crumbles. You wanted to say it.
No, I was flowing in the other part I wanted to say, and that's how the cookie crumbles. But Jared came in with, you know, it's another good segue? The ad.
Our segues are awful.
Get out of here.
Kill that.
man.
Kill that, Lou Dog.